Well, hello everyone. Welcome. Happy Sunday.
Yes, today we're going to talk about our cruises. We're just back from just over 2.5 weeks of cruising. We did a side-by angle cruise, I call it. We'll get into that a little bit later. So we'll hold it right there. We're going to be right back.
Well, hello and welcome. We are Jill and Jerry, the Cruising Canucks. Thanks for joining us today on this Sunday Live.
Yeah, and our Sunday Live becomes a podcast on Monday mornings. We put it over on Spotify and Apple Music in case you miss us in the moment. And the only thing is you do it that way, you don't get a chance to join us live and ask questions back and forth, which is probably what today's going to be a lot about, is everybody wants to know how the recent group cruise and our first ever Virgin cruise went. I'm even wearing my Virgin red today.
Oh, from your Scarlet Night.
Yes,
he is. I am not wearing my dress that I wore on Scarlet Night because unfortunately I live in Canada and it's way too cold to be wearing that. I do have a little red in my sweater though, a little bit of red in the design.
And you didn't even wear your PJs you wore to the pajama party or your fancy slippers.
There you go. Again, need to warm up for that because it's some summer gear that I had, and it's warmer today than what it's been, but it's 0 degrees Celsius right now where we are, and that's not quite warm enough for what I wore on the Caribbean cruise.
So yeah, thanks for waiting for us. We've been off the air kind of for a few weeks now.
Traveling?
I think it's almost been a month since we've been talking to everybody on Sunday afternoon, so we're excited to be back and bring you up to date on that.
Yeah, Bruno was pretty insistent. He had to be a part of it right from the get-go. I tried to have him settle in his bed, and he started barking to get picked up even before we went live. So I guess he's been missing out and saying hi to everybody.
Yep, and he's addicted to YouTube as well.
Yeah, right.
So yes, it's been a fun few weeks for us in a whole bunch of different ways.
Oh, yes.
It's been interesting for a bunch of different ways. I'd say that our first cruise with the group was a ton of fun.
Oh, so much fun, but so fast. 7 days. So this was our second group cruise. If you weren't aware, our first group cruise was last year on the Enchanted Princess, which was a 10-day cruise. And we thought that was busy, but try having the same amount of people squeezed into a 7-day cruise. And it was extremely busy. Wonderful. We had a wonderful time, but we felt like we didn't have enough time maybe to spend with everybody. So anyways, that'll go towards more announcements later.
Yeah, we had a couple of exciting lives coming up today and next week. And part of the reason is this one's exciting because we're getting back to tell you our first impressions of our last two cruises. Next week's going to be exciting because we're finally making that announcement on our group cruises that we are going to be announcing. So that's a bit of a hint that we've got some ideas and we've just about got the finishing touches on it. And our patrons have been already brought into the loop of what's going on. So we've prepped them. I think we've got enough firm dates.
Well, and we sort of announced it to everybody that was with us on the group cruise. So, so if you were there, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and if you weren't there, then you're going to find out a week from today when we're still trying to get all the I's dotted and everything set up with the cruise lines.
Yeah, we're still meeting with reps. We just had a video chat on Friday with the different cruise lines. So it's all coming together and we're very happy and excited about it.
Yeah, we are going to be cruising with 3 different cruise lines. 3 different parts of the world. So yeah, anyways, don't ruin the whole surprise. It's coming up next week.
That's right.
And Bruno doesn't want to hear about it, so maybe he'll miss next week. It's more times that he'll be without us.
I think he's starting to get pretty used to it.
Recent content and what's up next. So we don't have a lot of recent content because we've been off cruising with no videos coming out.
Right.
We did have one video come out. What was it?
The secret word.
Well, we had the secret word come out. And before that, we had something else, but I can't remember what it was.
We just had our first video of our traveling day to get down to Florida to join our first group cruise. That came out Saturday.
Yeah, there was one that came out when we were away.
Oh, sorry, guys. He's going 3 weeks back on me now. I don't know what he's referring to.
It's only a couple weeks, but I can't get it to come up. But yeah, we did have one in the middle there coming out. But yeah, so our videos are going to start coming out this week. We're not sure what date. I thought originally maybe it would be in the next couple of days. But a little bit of me fighting the sinus infection and trying to get back to healthy and back to work stuff and travel for work and everything else, it might not be till the end of the week.
Right.
So we'll see how fast I get in the editing. I've got one video out to us traveling, and there's another one coming for embarkation day, which is exciting. So I'm not sure on the timing. Just tell you, it's going to be this week, either early or late. That's all I got. And then the next thing is group cruise update. we kind of already let this one out of the bag.
We did.
But next week is the announcement of the official group cruise. Then from there, we'll lay out the plan for when we're going to be able to start booking people on the group cruises.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming next week.
Right.
And so
that will be the topic of our live for next week. Yes.
Yes, all about the group cruises for sure. And okay, comment and question of the week that came in. And the comment and the question is, it's coming up here. There we go. About responding to questions. Larry had said, so important. I've asked you several questions. I'm shocked at how fast you've gotten back to me. Most times, same day. Thank you.
Well, that's kind. We do try to respond to every single question. And of course, we're constantly checking when we're at home. So usually it's within the first day. But in saying that, when we're traveling, sometimes it might be a week before we get there.
Often.
But we do.
Even traveling, it's usually within a day or two.
We do try to, but there's been times where it's been longer than that. But yes, well, that's very kind.
We made a commitment when we started doing this channel. Mm-hmm. And so we've been able to live up to it. And it's become a big part of Mrs. Canucks' job. We make sure that every single comment gets a response.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's just like a 1 or 2 word comment that someone throws in there saying thanks or something. We just give it a heart or a like or something. But we at least
hilarious smiley face because some of you guys are very clever.
But we want you to know that we've seen, we've read, and we've heard your comments or questions, and that we want to acknowledge that. We don't want to just kind of leave it out there like nobody's watching or caring what you think.
Right, and it is either myself or Jerry responding. It isn't anybody else. It's the two of us that do it all. Like Jerry said, I respond to most of the comments that we get through any form of social media, just because he does all the editing, and so he's extremely busy with that. But in saying that, every now and then I see him responding to comments because he keeps a close eye on it and sort of likes to see the engagement and hear what you guys are thinking firsthand, as opposed to hearing what I tell him I've read or dealt with.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Cruising Canucks empire is not big enough that we have a staff handling social media for us.
We do
just
not.
Us.
It is us. It is all us. You can blame it all on me.
Yeah. Although sometimes you might not know which one of us is responding. So
True.
We usually agree on the response.
Well, maybe.
So if you get 2 responses, you get both opinions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that has happened a few times. Literally, we've been in the same room and I'll say, what are you doing right now? And he's like, I'm responding to this YouTube comment. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just responded to that one. And so the person's gotten both opinions within a minute of each other.
So yeah, there you go. So yeah, so if you put in a comment, then you're probably going to get, well, not probably, you're going to get some kind of response from us. Often words, or if it's inappropriate, we'll just delete it. Yeah. But that's only about like 0.1%.
Right.
So luckily we have so many people that follow us that have kind words to say and have honest questions that we don't deal with much of that. So
that's right.
Has been really we're thankful for sure. So trivia question of the week.
Oh boy.
I was surprised when I looked all this up, so I thought I'd go true or false today.
Okay.
So you got a 50-50 chance here.
Okay. That's
okay.
Good.
So Virgin's first 4 ships are called the Lady Ships, and the last one's about to come out later this year.
Yes.
Yes. But Virgin just recently announced that the next line of 4 ships that they put an order in for are called the Man Ships.
No.
So in 2028, is it? They announced that the first one's going to be called Scarlet Man.
False. You're so full of it. Come on. As if. There's no company stupid enough to do that.
You've been on Virgin. This would be something they would do.
No. False. You're full of malarkey. Moving on.
What people say in the bottom of your comments. Anybody agree with you, or people think that?
I'm sure nobody agrees with you.
Terry is saying no way.
No way. False. That's all I'm seeing. Thank you.
Why can't they
False. Thank you, guys.
I thought it was a good idea that they have man ships. No, nobody's buying it.
Matt is actually dying laughing right now. He's falling off his chair. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's full of it.
It's the man ships.
Yeah. False. No.
I'm going to write Sir Richard Branson and tell him this idea.
And it will go nowhere. You're so full of it.
Oh, let's look at the answer.
Okay.
See if everybody's wrong or not.
Okay.
People might be shocked here. The answer is... Bam. Coming.
There's no answer. Oh, there it is. False. Look at how tiny you print that.
False.
Like the man flew, Roberta. I love it. Roberta just commented, like the man flew. If there were man ships, they would never ask for directions, Lori's saying. I love it. Good job, ladies. Way to have my back. Nice try, Mr. Canuck.
They'd be less fashionable ships.
Less fashionable. Everything would be mixed, matched, wrong shapes, wrong size.
There would be no fancy loungers or couches or anything. It would just be hammocks everywhere in the ship.
Bruce and Donnie are saying Macho Man would be a good name.
There you go. Bruce is believing me now.
Oh man. Oh, that's quite funny.
I can't convince people. Eh?
No, you can't. You can't. Ob and Steve are saying that's Margarita at the sea. At sea. Oh, that's funny.
I thought I'd get a few people with that one, but I clearly got.
No, you did not get anybody with that one.
I'll be more clever or realistic next time, do I?
Yeah.
You didn't even think for a second?
Not for a second.
I even had details in there, like the year is going to be coming out.
You're full of malarkey. Yeah.
Okay.
He thinks he's a good liar, but he's really a poor liar, which really helps our marriage a lot. But yes, he does like to think every now and then that he can pull off a lie, but he's never been able to. So that's a good thing. That's something I love about you. I wouldn't want you to be a good liar.
More to come on the man ships.
Yeah, right.
Bruno's looking at me like I lost my mind.
He's like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with my daddy today. He's ridiculous. It's the man cold.
So today's show, see if I updated this. Oh, I did. It's all about group cruising and our first ever Virgin cruise.
Ooh.
So,
all right.
I think everybody wants to know what Virgin, but we'll do that one second.
Okay, we're going to talk about the group cruise first.
Chronological order, yeah.
Okay.
So, well, first of all, before you get to any questions, I thought we'd just actually talk about it.
Okay.
So, what did you think of the group cruise? Let's go general first.
Okay.
Before I go specific.
All right. So, do you want my impressions? What are you asking me?
Did you like it?
Did I like it? No, I had a horrible time. Of course I liked it. I thought it was wonderful. So, I mean, this was the first time we organized a group cruise where we had everybody booked through us so that we had a group booking. And I felt like for the most part, that worked really, really well from a planning standpoint. I mean, there were a few hiccups along the way, and everybody that was there knew that. There was a little change in our dining time from what we had been confirmed beforehand, that sort of thing. Minor things, and everybody in the group were so supportive as I was dealing with the craziness of embarkation day and dealing with things like that. And it just, the love and support that we get from the group cruises, everybody after the first group cruise, they're like, will you do another one? And I'm like, how could I not do another one? Because after the first group cruise, we just fell in love with our followers and supporters, and that message was loud and clear to us again this time. We met more wonderful people, had great times with everybody, and I think for the most part, everything went wonderfully. My biggest complaint was it went by too fast for me. 7 days was a little bit too fast to do it, but I had a wonderful time.
Did you?
And what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that we had such a wonderful time with everybody on the cruise, and we were so busy with everybody and enjoying our time with everybody that one of our favorite things to do on a Holland America ship, we didn't get much of a chance to do.
Which we knew we wouldn't.
We kind of wondered. We booked a cabana. We thought, we'll just go back there and relax. We're not doing group cruise stuff. But again, it was like the first group cruise. It was like we were traveling with family. We were meeting new friends. We were loving spending time with them so much and doing things around the ship that we didn't really make use of our escape back to the...
No, we didn't.
So that was a little unfortunate. We probably wouldn't book it again just because there was lots to do around the ship with everybody.
Yeah, on a group cruise, I would never do it again.
But if it's just the two of us, we probably would. So
right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only downside, was the fact we didn't realize that enough.
I just thought, when we picked Holland America for our second group cruise, I was afraid, would there be enough of a entertainment feel going on throughout the night to sort of keep everybody busy and going. It's a little bit different than Princess. They don't usually have the big shows that Princess does, all that sort of thing. But I think it worked out really well with the different lounges. Jerry and I could go from lounge to lounge, and we would always see a group of Canucklings somewhere, and we could just sort of pop in and join whatever group was, whether they were at the Dueling Pianos or at the BB King's Lounge or the Rock and Roll Room, that sort of thing. And so that worked out really well. Probably my favorite night on the ship would have been the Orange Night. I thought we had just a beautiful dance party, and that was just such a fun time. And so many of us were out on the dance floor throughout most of the night that's a very fond memory, a takeaway from it. The other thing that I really loved that Oh, are we back?
Are we back? Tell us if we're back. We're just talking and all of a sudden our screen
talking and everything went black on our end. So anyways, the one thing that I was going to say is...
Hold up. Those ends talking if they can't hear us. Let's see if we got anybody saying we're back. You're back.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I'm not quite sure what happened there.
No idea why it happened, yeah.
Anyways, the one thing I was going to say that Holland America especially did private excursions for us that we were able to book with just our group. And that was another extremely fun memories. We did 2 different excursions and that was so much fun. And I really liked how that played out again. And I plan on incorporating that into our future group cruises.
Yeah, like Terry says, the Orange Night dancing with Twyla on the dance bar was it was special to see everybody come together as a group and support each other, be out there with each other.
Yeah. Roberta's saying dinner time was fun. And anyways, I think the majority of people, or I hope everybody, had a wonderful time. I know that we sure did, for sure. Yeah.
During the Orange party, I had turned to Mrs. Canuck at one point as everybody was dancing, having a good time, and I pointed at the dance floor and said, "Look what you've done," right?
Yeah. It's true, because we watched all these people there were some people that knew each other from the first group cruise, but there was more people that didn't know anybody than ones that were returning group cruisers. There was a larger percentage that it was their first time joining us. And we watched friendships and relationships develop amongst these Canucklings that we brought together, and saw that. And near the end of the cruise, just taking in, seeing how that all happened was heartwarming and just so much fun. It was so much fun. I feel like I'm a little bit of a broken record when I say this, but we had a fabulous time and we were so appreciative of everybody that was there with us, that, trusted us to follow along and go with whatever I threw at them. So many people were running around the cruise ships doing a scavenger hunt and probably one memory that I'll never forget is all of a sudden multiple Neil Diamonds coming to me on the dance floor. So I won't say any more about that right now, but if you know me and you know how much I love the song Sweet Carolina, you'll have to watch for a vlog that will be released to explain more of the inside scoop on that. But yeah, I definitely, some group cruisers pulled one over on me for sure.
For sure. For the person that doesn't really like Sweet Carolina, she probably had the loudest rendition from 66 people singing it to her all at once.
Yeah. Anyways, a very heart-touching week for sure. Wonderful time.
And someone was so kind that they even gifted us an upside-down pineapple on our door, too. That was a surprise for us coming back to the ship one day.
And we know who they are.
Yes, there's a few extra
shenanigans
things going on. I think the first group cruise, everybody was kind of like feeling their way through it. By this one, there's enough people that were comfortable enough that okay, we're going to become part of the show and have some fun with this. And
I know I have a lot of retired teachers out there that watch this channel, and so if you ever were ever in the teaching profession and you took a group of people on a field trip, this is what I can relate it to. Of having 64 followers coming on a week-long field trip and just having the best time. But anyways, it was just so much fun. But of course, you always got that one or two that like to get up to no good, and you got to keep an eye on them. And you know who you are.
Yeah, I think that after the first group cruise, my thought for this group cruise, a little bit of terror, because I was thinking, how can it be as good as the first one?
Yeah. I think we both had that feeling. Yeah. We were afraid that it would be a letdown because again, last year was so phenomenal on the Enchanted Princess. And so I think we both thought, well, I think that'll just be a one-time experience because it was a new experience, and now this won't. But I didn't feel that way at all. I felt like it hit the mark, and it was just as good, if not better, in certain areas than our first one. So that was such a relief, and it was so much fun for us. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy the vlogs. I will say there were times that we were having so much fun that I looked at Jerry and I went, oh, we should be videotaping this. We're not recording it. What's the vlog going to look like? Because we were just so engaged in having such fun. But luckily we had some wonderful people like Bruce and Scott and a few others that shared some video clips that they took of stuff. So hopefully Mr. Canuck can edit together some wonderful vlogs for you guys all to see it all.
Yeah, I'm confident after going through 2 of these that we make the announcement next week that I'll be saying you need to try a group cruise, because I would have never thought I was going to be a proponent of this type of thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm more of a quieter, introverted person.
Yes.
But this is like I said, it's not like having to be extroverted with strangers. It's like being introverted with family.
And it's I would say that's one of the takeaways I'll say from speaking to people that joined us on either one of our group cruises. A lot of people were like, oh, I don't know if it's really going to be my thing. I might be a little bit not really wanting to be a part of the group and But overwhelmingly, I had people come to me near the end of the cruise saying, I'm so glad we did this. I thought it would be outside of my comfort zone. And yet it was the best cruise I've ever taken, or the most fun we've ever had on vacation, or all of the people were so great. And we just felt like we were instant friends. So I think, sometimes when you do things outside of your comfort zone, amazing things happen. So exactly. I think that's exactly that happened on the group cruise for a lot of people.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it way more than Virgin.
You're so awful.
Guaranteed. It was way better. Oh, so maybe before we get to the questions, we'll give a little bit of a tease of what we saw in Virgin, because it's going to be a little while till those videos come out, because they're coming after the group cruise.
Okay.
And so we should give them a little bit of an answer as to what we thought.
Okay.
And I have a lot of words, but I'll probably get duct taped or thrown to the ground, but I'll try to get my words out.
So as many of you know, and maybe some of you don't, so let me give you a little bit of a backstory. The Scarlet Lady was an 8-day cruise going up to Miami. We got off of our group cruise and we were heading to Miami to get on this one. Our 50th cruise ever, but our first Virgin cruise. So starting off, it was a little bit different in that it's a much later embarkation time than what we're used to. So we had a 3 p.m. embarkation time, but that all went really smoothly. We got there at around 2:30, and we were getting we were allowed, they line you up outside in little lines with 15-minute increments on the lines that you go to. So we were in a line for people that had a 3 p.m. boarding. And at around 2:35, 2:40, they started to let us in. And so we were on the ship by 3 p.m.
Yeah, and we kind of tried to break the system, just because some challenges we had with the app and the timing of getting in. We actually didn't show up on any type of boarding pass. I thought, oh, they're going to have our record somewhere that we're booked on this ship. And even considering we did that, it was still seamless getting on the ship.
Yeah, we did have the app going, but we didn't have any printed paperwork.
Yeah.
So
we just lined up.
I just showed my app with the 3 p.m. boarding time, and that was all I needed to show.
We lined up. I just should have brought it downstairs, but we got the little fancy armband thing that they put on you.
Right. And so your first impressions of the ship?
My first impressions of the ship. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, okay.
I've tried to block a lot of it out. I don't know. My first impressions of the ship, I don't know if you think you're going to hear me say good things or bad things, but my first impressions of the ship is it felt like it didn't have any rooms. It was every floor was just one long hallway from one to the other with kind of spaces that branched off from the long hallway. That was my first impression of just the ship and the layout when I first got on.
There's no wide, big, huge atrium like you're used to on like a piazza like Princess has or anything.
There's not even a lounge off to the side anywhere. There's nothing like that.
Okay.
So it's a different. Right off the bat, I was like, okay, this is definitely gonna be a different type of ship, just based because it wasn't physically like any ship. Yeah, that was my first impression.
Okay.
It was bright inside.
Clean. I will say that was one of my first impressions. Was I enjoyed the how clean everything was. I will say on the 8-day cruise, I saw staff constantly cleaning, wiping down handrails, cleaning washrooms, all those sort of things. So that's an important thing for me.
Yeah. And also one thing I noticed right off the bat in the first day, from the time we finally managed to get lunch, which wasn't until after 3 because we didn't get on till then. So I wasn't happy with the getting on late part, but once we did get on, then luckily our cabin was ready almost immediately.
Our cabin was ready as soon as we got on. We were able to go to our cabin at 3. Yeah.
And then when we did try to get lunch, or we were on the ship trying to get a drink, they had this really cool thing. Should have brought one home. But they have these little menus, whatever venue you're at, or bar menus or food menus. And there's a little flag that you pop up. And I was a little skeptical, thinking, okay, we'll see how this works. I'd sit down with a little skepticism. I popped the flag up. Let's see how long it takes someone to come take my order, thinking that in other ships and venues, it takes sometimes a while to get people there when it's busy. It was almost every time we did, it was almost immediately. It's almost like the staff were trained to have their head kind of on a pivot like a hockey player. And when they saw a flag up somewhere, they were right to you and giving you service.
Within seconds. I don't think we ever waited more than a minute when we put the little flag up to want a place in order to get someone to come and service.
Probably the fastest, best service, probably compared to any ship we've ever been on so far.
Absolutely. I will say I felt like there was a lot of staff, and therefore the staff were not overworked or stressed out like I've seen on other cruise ships. And so that was a huge plus for me. I felt like the staff had time to interact with the passengers, and they were friendly and knowledgeable and helpful. So yeah, I mean, because for us, it was so our first impressions of interaction and all of that, going back to the very first moments on the ship, was after we dropped off our bags in the cabin. We didn't unpack or anything. We literally ran up to what they call the galley, which is kind of like a buffet, but kind of not. It's sort of like a food court. Anyways, and we weren't quite sure how that worked. We saw people lining up like a buffet, but I was told it wasn't a buffet. So I'm like, do I sit down? Do I order? Do I go stand in line? So I just found an empty table and put up the flag and had this young lady come and help me. And she just answered every question that I had within, a minute, and took an order for me and went and got me everything I needed. So my first impressions of how well that happened was great.
For sure.
And by the time we finished lunch, we went back to our cabin and our luggage was already there within a half an hour of us being on board the ship. So that was another thing that was a huge, big thing for me. We were able to unpack, and we had to do our muster and all of that sort of thing. So we thought it'd be a really tight getting ready for sail away and going to dinner and all of that. But because everything was ran so efficiently, it felt good. I didn't have any complaints about my first experience, like my first impressions on board is what I should say. Yeah.
Breaking news.
Okay.
Teresa and Gus love to travel. They just joined our Patreon
as
Crown and Diet. So
thank you guys. That's wonderful.
Thought I'd throw that in there before my next comment on Virgin.
Okay.
So that's the intro level. Let's step into, say, the cabin. And the cabin for me was probably one of the best cabins I've had at sea for a balcony cabin.
So Jerry was very concerned about going on a Virgin cruise.
IKEA of the seas.
He has said that for the last couple of years, as many of you know. And I told him he was only allowed to say it once.
I don't know if I said it once.
And I don't believe he said it at all, the whole cruise. So yeah, the cabin furniture, we were afraid that it wouldn't be comfortable, that there wouldn't be enough storage, all of that. All of our fears were wrong. I had plenty of storage. I did have to ask for a few extra hangers, but there were a lot of hangers there. You know that I travel with a lot of dresses, and so I had to ask for extra. Our cabin guy, we were barely in our room for 3 minutes when the cabin steward came and introduced himself and asked if there was anything we needed, and he was right there to help. And one thing that you liked was we were barely in our room, and all of a sudden we heard this noise, and Jerry's like, "What is that?" Remember? And I'm like, "That's our doorbell."
Oh, yeah.
So
one of my favorite features on Virgin Cruises is you have a doorbell.
So Jerry was quite happy whenever the doorbell rang, and it only rang twice in the whole cruise. Well, he rang it a few times, but our cabin steward rang it twice, once to introduce himself and then once to bring me the hangers that I asked for. But that was a nice feature. The hammock is not a gimmick. What do you want to talk about?
You're talking about everything.
Okay.
I brought up the cabin and you're talking all about it.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you have a turn.
No sense. You told everybody everything. But the hammock, I thought going in was going to be this. We're just being different, ridiculous, and it's just going to be an overtop thing by Virgin thing. This can't be functional or useful, or nobody's going to ever use their hammock. Eventually we ended up fighting for the hammock or doing shifts in the hammock because it was so comfortable and so relaxing on that balcony. A hammock on a ship, I found out, is kind of like a gyroscope. So it doesn't matter what the ship's doing. Your hammock is nice and steady and smooth. We had to fight to not fall asleep. We'd sit there and laugh at each other and wake each other up because we'd fall asleep in the hammock. Even if you tried to stay awake, you're reading a book or listening to a book, couldn't stay awake because the hammock was just that relaxing. It just put you right to sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. We both had our fair share of naps over the course of the cruise. So we loved our our cabin in general, but the balcony and the hammock was really nice. And I think, I've said many a times, I don't mind cruising on an interior room because I'm never in my room. Virgin Cruise might be the exception to that rule. I want the hammock. I want the balcony. It's a quiet, lovely space to have, especially when things are a little bit maybe too loud up on the pool deck later in the day for me.
Yeah. And also inside the cabin, there seemed to be more space where there were just more options for seating. Like we're used to having rooms lately that you're like sitting on the bed if you want to change or read or do anything. Like there was the full normal like desk makeup area with a chair.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another full-size chair, like a really big chair with pillows. And it had even a table that was there. You can use the table for like sliding it under the bed and like doing something in your bed as to read or work on the computer, or you could put it in front of the chair and use it as a table. So I could sit there doing stuff with our computer and downloading footage.
Yeah.
You could be getting ready for the night out, and then there was no bumping into each other in the cabin. Lots of space. We had our own areas to do whatever we wanted to.
Right.
It was fantastic, actually.
So I think that's probably where we both agree on Virgin. We both had that same sort of likes, and then the rest we sort of differ. So when it came to the food in the dining rooms, I will say that I really enjoyed it. I tried things I'd never tried before. The menu sometimes were a little bit more exotic than what I'm used to, and for 9 times out of the 10 or 95% of the time, I would say it was always a really pleasant surprise. There were a few misses with me. The bone marrow, I'll never try that again. That was awful. But I enjoyed all the other dining venues and all of that sort of thing, whereas you maybe not so much.
Not so much. Yeah, I was just looking at Bob and Steve saying the brilliant ladies can have 2 hammocks
on most of their balconies.
No,
yes.
some, not most. Some of their balconies.
Yeah. So yeah, we did hear that is going to happen. Oh, they're also saying they like the hammock so much they bought one. So Jerry was saying he was going to buy one too. But anyways, when it came to the food, I really enjoyed it, and Jerry struggled a little bit more, right?
Okay, I guess so. Yeah.
No?
No, yeah. I was I would argue anybody trying to tell me that Virgin has the best food at sea. In fact, I find it extremely lacking. And I say that with 100% confidence. I'm not making this up. First thing, I guess for me, what was lacking was the balance of items available in any of the restaurants, any of the menus.
Because they were too themed?
I feel that it should not be so hard to get a pasta dish or a chicken dish or even a veggie dish that isn't like a Beyond Meat type of thing or Impossible, whatever it was they had, that I just felt that it lacked. That fantastic. You want fancy stuff with meat and seafood and pork and all that. But it did not have any of the basic type of things that what I like to eat. So for me, it was a complete miss. Like I struggled on most menus to find a single item that I actually wanted. I found something I could tolerate because I had to eat something. And I'm pretty sure I lost weight on that cruise.
Yeah. Whereas I had the opposite experience, and I had wonderful dining experiences and enjoyed it immensely. So we definitely differed on that.
No, I would never go on that ship again, knowing the menus are like that. The only thing I found anything I liked was in the galley, which is the buffet. And it is a buffet because it's much like Holland America, that they serve you, and it's all different stations on different types of themes, whether it's a noodle here or a burger there or a dessert there. So it is. They say that on a buffet, they have a buffet. It's called the galley.
Well, but you don't have to treat it as a buffet. They're allowing people to use it as a buffet, but I never once went and stood in line and waited for food. I would go and sit down and put up the little flag and have a server take my order and bring my food like I would in a regular restaurant. And so having that option is really nice.
That was different, yeah. Some other cruise lines, they come to your table and they ask you if you want to do a drink order or water or coffee, that type of thing.
Yeah, but here they'd go and get you everything from, if you're there for breakfast, they'd bring you bacon and eggs and fruit and muffins or whatever, to whatever you wanted, whatever was available in any of the stations. They would go from the different stations throughout the whole area for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you could tell that that was really set up efficiently. That it was well managed with their staff, because often the person that took your order wasn't the one that delivered it. So somehow they got it into a system, and then the first available person would bring it out to someone, so you weren't sitting there getting cold food or waiting a long period of time.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Entertainment was good, but lacking, in my opinion. We found, so there were 3 shows on the 8-day cruise that we were on, and they just kept repeating in the main theater. So that was disappointing, because I'm a big fan of going to the main theater every night and catching whatever show it is and hoping I see a different one. Like we talked about this sort of, Jerry and I personally at length, and we went on Morella cruise and did a 7-day cruise, and they had 7 different live performance shows going on in that day. A lot of cruise lines are getting away from that, and they're doing sort of like what Virgin did. They had 3 shows that repeated over the 8 days. They did have a venue called the Manor, and they had a dinner club that you could go to and watch comedians. That we saw 3 comedians and had dinner in there one night, and that was good. But then it was the exact same thing that went on the whole rest of the cruise. So if you did it once, you did it. And the same with the Diva show. There was a drag queen show that we went to one night, but it was the same show that repeated the whole time. So that would be my biggest complaint for me personally, was I felt like there wasn't enough live entertainment. There were some musicians very sporadically and not often throughout the ship, but when we found them, they were amazingly talented, but they just didn't play as frequently as we're used to performers performing on other cruise lines. They would only play like one set a night for 1 hour, and then they'd be off the rest of the night, as opposed to having 3 or 4 sets throughout the evening. So for me personally, the entertainment was my biggest disappointment on the cruise.
Yeah, my biggest plus to the entertainment was probably the main theater itself. I've never seen a main theater used the way this one was. The seats were configurable. They moved all over the place. You never knew how it was going to be set up when you got in there. At one point, the seats were even moved almost entirely out of the venue. And there was like a bar set up on the side where you could get a drink while you stood up and enjoyed kind of like a rock concert.
So that was very impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Yeah,
we were impressed with how versatile the theater was.
There just wasn't enough.
There just wasn't enough, in our opinion.
Yeah, there was many nights where we would look at the program and say, okay, we've seen it, don't really want to do it, and way too late.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. They definitely have things starting later than us. But I mean, again, they're probably gearing for a younger generation. But yes, their pajama party, for instance, started at 11:30. There was a lot of things that would start at 11:30 at night, and that would be, and that's fine. But sometimes I wish there was something that went on earlier, because there were big gaps in the evening. There'd be 2 or 3 hours of nothing going on, and then you'd have to stay up till 11:30, or you just go to bed without it. So yeah, I would change the layout of the entertainment, but that's obviously to fit my own personal desires, and maybe they're catering to a different demographic, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think we're going to do an entire video on what we found about Virgin, what we liked and didn't like. So we won't go into too much more detail. But I think the big question that everybody probably wants to know is kind of the answer to the big question.
Okay.
Is, would you cruise Virgin again?
I would definitely cruise Virgin again. Would you?
It depends on the situation. So here's my thinking. What I found with Virgin, didn't matter if you were at their beach club or if you were on the ship, that Virgin was a type of cruise line that I could enjoy during the day. Once we started getting in the evening, it got disappointing, mainly because of the lack of entertainment, but also the music started getting louder around the ship and everything started to happen, but it was still okay. But then by the time you started approaching 10, 11 o'clock at night, it was like, okay, I'm just the old guy at a young person's nightclub is how I felt, and I just need to go to bed now because the young kids want to play. So that was my problem. So if I go on a Virgin cruise again, I wouldn't do it trying to cruise the way that I cruise.
Okay.
Because I like to cruise, like relax during the day, and then the evenings I'll go and catch shows and music and everything else. Maybe I stay up late here and there, maybe go to an event where there's some dancing and stuff. We never danced once the entire cruise.
There's no, like, where there was live musicians, there was no place to dance. We listened to a few live musicians that played songs that we would have loved to have danced too, especially like we were on there for Valentine's night and they were doing a whole set of love songs. Would have been beautiful to slow dance with your spouse, but there wasn't a dance floor. There wasn't a spot. So that was disappointing.
The only dancing was when they could manage to get like 1,000 people into a small area where they're just jumping up and down to loud music that I couldn't relate to.
Like dance club stuff, but there was no sort of, couples dancing or anything like that.
So defining that's what it looked like to me. The only way I could cruise on Virgin again is if it was where we planned to go and use our cabin as kind of like a condo that faces the ocean, where we'd spend a lot of time in the cabin. There's good movies to watch. It was a nice cabin just to hang out and read, hang out in the hammock, that's the word, and just take it easy and then go out from our room and go out and maybe catch some deck time during the day or grab a meal, of course, here or there at different restaurants. I think that would be the way I would consider cruising at an event, but I would never do it as a group cruise. I would never do it as let's go and have a good time on a cruise ship and expect to be out having, do different things that I do at home. It'd be more like just relaxing like I do at home now and then on a weekend, but doing it on a cruise ship.
Right.
That's the only way I would consider it again. Unless they bring out the man ships, and then maybe they'll be a little bit different. So,
ridiculous.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Is like I'm in no rush to book one again, unless a situation comes up where it's like, let's do that because we're just looking for a quiet cruise, knowing what I'm getting before I go. And I didn't know what I was getting this time, so that's why there was some disappointment here and there. But I think I could strategically cruise this cruise line, knowing how I need to approach it. That's
Very
my
good.
thinking. So, yeah, and the big question we've been getting from a lot of people is, was it as crazy or inappropriate as you had heard or feared?
And I would say it didn't feel like it was throughout the whole cruise until Scarlet Lady night. And then that night when we went to the pool deck, just late at night, like after 11 o'clock, that was when you saw some of the things that you've heard about from Virgin Cruises with the extreme behaviors and the little amounts of clothing that some people chose to wear and stuff like that.
And next level drinking from some people, like something I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, there was a lot of extremely intoxicated people at that Scarlet party.
And there's no
for sure.
drink package, so that would be an expensive night for some people.
Yeah, you have a bar tab, which is, I mean, again, we're going to do a different video, so I'll just touch on it. But we really did like the bar tab idea concept, and that's something that we wish other cruise ships would adapt. So overall, in my opinion, Virgin has a lot of good things that are going for it. There are a few things that weren't great for me personally. So I would cruise them again, but I mean, I can't say it's the most perfect cruise line I've ever been on, but there were some wonderful things and some, this is weird things going on too.
Yeah, I would seriously consider possibly, and you won't like this, I'd probably consider going on a Carnival cruise again before I would do a Virgin.
Yeah, see, and I would disagree with Jerry on that. I would not.
I'm not sure I'd do an MSC over a Virgin, but I think Carnival I would.
There you go.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, I think probably most of you predicted that we wouldn't have the same opinion on it, but we do differ on what it is. But one thing we both really agreed on was the cabin was beautiful, and we enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I'd have a tough time recommending it to anybody older than our age.
I would too.
Unless they have a really, really open mind and they're kind of a little bit those crazy older people, that just like hang out with young kids and fit right in. It'd be tough for the average normal person.
I mean, there were times where we sort of, looked at each other and thought, oh, this is more for our children's cruise age demographic. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, there were a lot of people a lot older than us on this cruise. And there was, quite a few younger people too. I would say we were sort of middle of the range when it came to the age of people that were on the cruise with us. But as they were like the sort of things that they were doing, the entertainment that they were marketing and stuff like that, felt like it was more geared to people younger than us for sure. Mm-hmm. But I didn't hear Sweet Carolina the whole week.
No Sweet Carolina?
And I was quite happy about that.
And I didn't say IKEA all week, I don't think either.
There you go.
So it was different in a different way, for sure.
Yeah. Anyways.
So I see a couple of questions. Maybe we'll just work back. We're running lower in time, but I want to get to a bunch of questions specifically. Okay. So we'll go backwards from where we are there. Mm-hmm. And I'm just looking for the first one. Michael wants to know, what about the bathroom?
The bathroom?
Yeah. In our cabin.
A pretty typical cruise bathroom. It wasn't overly large and it wasn't overly small, in my opinion. It was pretty average size. One thing I will say is that you have the rain shower head over top of you.
Glass shower.
The glass shower. And then you also have you can have a wand bar if you don't want to use the rain shower head. Probably the most water pressure I've ever had on a cruise ship. I was able to really clean my thick, dirty, salty hair after being in the ocean. So I appreciated the shower. I will say that. Other than that, it was pretty normal. They supply you with shampoo, conditioner, body wash, all felt like it was good quality stuff to me. Really liked the makeup face cloths that they provided. So, yeah, the bathroom was good.
Yeah, it had a normal shaped sink, unlike Celebrity, so that was good.
The only thing I'll say is there was no storage shelves to store your stuff there. Yep. You just had the counter that the sink was on. There was no shelves on the side, so it was hard to keep the bathroom tidy. I kept having to put everything back in the cosmetic bag constantly to keep the bathroom clean and not cluttered.
Yeah, the glass door for the shower I thought was really interesting. I realized partway through that you could open it either direction.
Yes.
You could swing it back into the bathroom or swing it into the shower.
Yeah, it's true.
Just kind of weird, but I guess it works if you're stuck in there. You didn't get a towel, so that's one question I saw. And I was just trying to see. Hadley Cole said they should call them the Lord ships, not the man ships.
That's clever.
Some feedback from some people. Kelly's not sure she's going to do it. She thinks she might be too old. I don't know. I've seen Kelly on that catamaran. She can have a good time. She can rise to the occasion. Pinky Gal says I should give it another try. And I haven't ruled it out, is what I'm saying. So it's not on the no cruise list. It's just on the cautious cruise list. And Alaska on Virgin could be fun. Yeah, actually, we were talking about that this morning.
Yeah, they're going to be cruising into Virgin for the first time.
Yeah,
or into Alaska for
maybe
the first time.
they'll be better in Alaska just because they don't seem like they're a Caribbean cruise line, and the fact that their pool is so tiny that nobody can possibly get in the pool. Like, it's like people side by side, and even then you can only fit about 30 of them in the pool.
It's definitely not a swimming pool. It's a stand up and cool off in cool water pool. It's you can't swim in it.
Yeah, it's a hangout. There's nothing like you would imagine on a typical cruise ship in the Caribbean that has lots of options for getting into a pool.
Right. 305.
305. Oh,
Nicole's asking, did I hear there's no loud announcements? And that's absolutely true, Nicole. That's something that we really appreciated. There was never any announcements going over the PA the whole cruise. There wasn't, with the exception of embarkation day when they reminded everybody to go and do your mustering. After that, nobody came on the PA system the whole week we were there. And in the mornings when you were cleared to get off of the ship, you go to the elevator, and in the elevator, they had these beautiful screens that would give you all the information that you needed to know as to where to get off the ship, what time we were leaving port, what you needed to bring with you. All that information was on these screens that they look like aquariums throughout the day with fish swimming around them in the elevators, but then they had them set up to give you all the information that you normally will hear somebody saying on a PA system in the morning when you get somewhere. So if you're a person that likes to sleep in, this is great because you're never going to get woken up by a PA system in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, for sure. That was really nice. Time. They still had like what I would call, what other ships call like the fun squad that kind of led the kind of organized activities. But as far as someone on the speaker that was just like reading what the Princess Patter says already on your app,
didn't happen.
Nothing like that happened.
They had everything on your app, and they didn't even give you a paper copy of the agenda on your app or in your cabin like a lot of cruise lines do. Now, they did have paper copies, but you had to go to the cafe or the restaurants or guest services. They had them sporadically set up in piles in little containers throughout the cruise ship that you could go and get a paper copy if you had chosen to have that, as opposed to looking at your app on the phone.
Yeah, I'm hearing that Matt is saying that bone marrow is an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Maybe you just haven't acquired it yet.
Yeah. I definitely think it's not something I'll be trying again. Sort of similar to the caviar that I tried on the Emerald Princess. Don't think I'll go back to trying that one either. Yeah. But I'm glad to say I did it. I tried it once, and now I know. And that's the advantage of going on a cruise. You don't have to pay for it to try it, as opposed to if I went out for dinner in a restaurant, I'd be really upset and think I had to eat it if I had ordered it and paid for it.
Yeah, Twyla's saying that she had a great time dancing. She was saying that Terry's comment.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And trying to see.
I think we've got...
Ruth is saying something. I know what she means. Do you know what she means? Apparently, Alvar can't lie very well.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what he means. Yeah, that's right. Him and Jerry share that same trait, don't they? Alvar might have been the one behind the pineapple on my door.
Broke code. No answer comments.
Yeah, right.
Scott is saying that group cruising can be addicting.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and can't wait to see the group cruise vlogs. Put faces to personalities. It's funny. Glenn is saying something that is so true, that once you go on the group cruise, you get to know these people and where they're from, and I've hung out with them, that when you see them like places here, like on the live or making comments and on the Facebook groups or everything else, then it's a different relationship. You feel like know this person. You can joke around with them. You're commenting, you're helping them out. So
yeah, absolutely.
It does build that sense of family. That's for sure.
For sure.
Patricia can relate to your field trip analogy. She was a teacher.
Yeah, I know. I'm always amazed how many people reach out and say that they were in the education field, or they were a teacher, or in some sort of. Quite a few of our followers and patron members too are former retired teachers. Mm-hmm.
Love to travel, saying definitely love Holland America entertainment. We'll keep going back time after time. Disappointed in the entertainment on Norwegian Viva this month. Not enough live music.
Oh, shoot.
And we do have an announcement coming about Norwegian, but we've got so many announcements to make. We're going to hold that one off for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So that'll probably be maybe next week after our group cruise announcement, or the week after. So
wow. Okay.
We have some special stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see. Matt is laughing at the scavenger hunt What'd you make these people do?
Scavenger hunts are fun. They really are. And I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say that, but they're very fun for me to watch people running back and doing them and seeing them. Patrick and I were sort of observers of the scavenger hunt, and he was helping me get set up for the after party of the scavenger hunt. And so we would just see a group of people running by, and it was quite comical to see a whole group of adults running by frantically trying to get pictures and do things. It's lots of fun. Anyways,
Bob and Steve were saying that they love to lounge at the dock in the aft and sit there and eat shrimp.
Absolutely. My favorite spot. So agree with you that I ate shrimp almost every day on my 8-day cruise. And there were days where I'd said to Jerry quite specifically, when we go to the dock, I'm not going to order food today because I've had shrimp 2 or 3 days in a row. And then all of a sudden I go to a restaurant and there'd be shrimp on the menu that I was having. But yes, for me, the food, again, wonderful. And I loved the dock that you could go and just get these little tapas size snacks, and it was a great spot to hang out for sure.
That is one spot I found chicken.
You found chicken?
It was chicken thighs, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I found
You're so picky.
I found no chicken nuggets.
No chicken nuggets.
For sure.
No.
And Corrado Murals, I think is how to say it. Definitely agreeing that the pool is too small.
Yes. That was one of our, or my second sort of biggest upset was that we didn't get into the pool the whole time we were there. And if you really wanted to get in the pool, you should get there by 8 o'clock in the morning, because anytime after 10, it's pretty full. Mm-hmm. We did get into the hot tub one time early in the morning, though, but it was early, like right after breakfast.
Yeah, again, and going back to like what I said, if you're get up in the morning and you want to enjoy this like a regular cruise ship in the morning, I really felt it was really no different than another cruise line.
Absolutely.
Deck chairs available. You could get into the pool or the hot tubs.
It just got really busy as the day went on.
As the day went on, the crazy ramped up. So, and I tried to wrestle with the fact, was that deliberate? Is that they know they got a wide demographic? Because as we're seeing online, some of the comments here, there's people in their 50s that go on and enjoy it, and even older we saw. And maybe that's the thing, is we'll give everybody a little bit of everything. For the people who want the quiet cruise, we'll let them have that in the morning.
That in the morning.
If they want that crazy party out of control, we'll give them that 11:30 at night when those people that were in the morning, they've gone to bed, right? So like we've heard stories of like the craziness really impacts even if you want to just relax in your cabin, or that. We had no experience like that.
No.
The crazy was different part of the ship. We had no experience. Unless we went and found it, we didn't know about it.
Our sort of routine on it was we were out and about on the ship, on the pool decks or whatever during the morning and until lunchtime. And then often in lunchtime, we'd go in and spend some beautiful time on our balcony or maybe deck 7. They have a wraparound promenade, another part that I really like. So you could walk around the whole deck, beautiful lounge chairs, lovely sofas, all kinds of nice chill seating down there that was away from the loud pool party atmosphere up on the pool deck. So we would spend time there a lot too. Yeah,
I was just thinking that there's no main dining room on this cruise ship.
Right.
So that created, the problem it created was there was no menu that varied on the ship anywhere. Couldn't go to the main dining room, find different stuff to eat every single night and hoping they kind of hit your sweet spot once in a while. But the menus were set. So once you went through all the specialty dining options for dinner,
right,
then you had the same menus over and over. So you went to the same restaurant a second time, you're getting the exact same food you got the first time. The exception being the test kitchen, but I'm not sure I want to go to either one of those nights. It was the craziest eating experience was the test kitchen. Which one you point to, the last one?
No.
Oh,
sorry.
But so that was my another observation on the eating. I forgot to mention that there is no, like other ships have options for the menus change from time to time, at least at the main dining room or the Quetch, the main dining room. So the same thing over and over was kind of like,
Whereas I really enjoyed that. So, again, we were able to go to multiple different restaurants and not have to pay a specialty dining fee, but it still felt like I was going to a specialty dining restaurant. And so that was one of the things that I really enjoyed about it. Yeah.
No, me.
But I know you like the traditional dining more than I do. Main
dining room, somewhere to dance in the evening with different entertainment every night. Kind of getting the feel like it wasn't my jam. Well, so I think we're over our time by quite a bit. But I think we got to most of the comments, questions.
We have, yes.
And we'll call it there for today. And join us next week because you're going to hear all about the group cruises that are being announced.
That's right.
I'll leave it there. So there's more than one. Less than 10 we're announcing.
Ridiculous.
But thanks everybody for joining us today. Hope you have a good week ahead. Watch for that first embarkation video of the group cruise. We'll get back on track, getting our content coming out to hopefully a couple of times a week.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and press that like button. It helps us out a lot.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week.
Bye.